Good day, everyone. So, welcome back again to another health and safety topic that we are going to cover today, or that we will be discussing today. This is a long pending topic that was requested to us by one of our viewers. So, the topic is all about permit to work system. Okay, so allow me to share with you the brief discussion about this topic. So it's a very kind of a big topic to discuss when it comes to health and safety, and I hope that I will be able to impart to you the necessary information or the necessary important elements of a permit to work system. So let's start by defining what is a permit to work system. Okay, so by definition, a permit to work system is a formal, no? It's a documented safety procedure. It's part of a safe system of work of a company, which basically ensures all the necessary actions taken, okay, before, during, and after particularly high risk work are done. Okay, so I'll just repeat. Okay, the permit to work, it's a formal documented procedure, which basically the aims is to ensure that all necessary actions are taken before, during, and after a work activity is to be done. Okay, so that's basically the definition of a permit to work system. Now, let's discuss the operation and application of a permit to work system. A PTW system, which we all know, or most of the health and safety professionals know, that we called it PTW, which stands for permit to work. So it's a management system that is supported by and make use of permits, which are paper documents. So it depends on your company or your organization that you work with. They will be using different types of paper-based work permits. Okay, so based from my experience, so there may be like a color coding type of paper documents that signifies which particular work that permits covers. But I will not discuss that here in detail, but that's the permit to work system. It's a PTWs, okay, a permit to work systems, or sorry, a PTWs are formal documents specifying the work to be done. Okay, the hazards associated with the work, and of course the precautions to be taken. Okay, let me repeat that. No? The PTWs are formal documents specifying what works to be done. Okay, work or works to be done, and if there are work that needs to be done, what are the hazards associated with it. Okay, so, and of course, if we talk about hazards, we also talk about precautions. So all of this, okay, the work to be done, the hazards in that work, and the precautions that needs to be implemented is or should be covered in a permit to work document. Okay, so that's basically it. No? The permit itself, since it's a document, it provides a clear written record. Okay, and normally it is signed by an authorized person in your system or on a system of a company, wherein all the foreseeable risks or hazards have been considered, and then all the actions are taken prior to what? Giving the permit to a working party to perform their work. No? It must be in the possession of the person. Okay, the document must be in the possession of the person who's going to perform the work. Now, this kind of arrangement may differ again from company to company. So, but anyhow, that's the operation and application of a permit to work system. So, let me just give you a general details of what must be included in a permit to work document. So, basically, there are four sections that a permit to work document records. Okay, the first section is the issue section, the issuing part. The second section is the receiving part or the receipt, the receiving part. The third section is the clearance section, and of course, the last section is the cancellation section. Okay, so let me just give you a brief overview of each section. The issue part. So basically, the issue part of a document, it just describes the work that is to be carried out. So it specifically identify the work location, the equipment to be attended to, the parts of the machinery. Okay, if it's a machinery or if it's a pump, what pump number, what equipment number. So it's clearly identified. So it basically identifies the details of the plant and the location. That's one important information that needs to be captured in the issuing part. Another important information is the date and time of issuance, because normally a permit has that validity kind of validity period of the permit. No, it is not like an infinity type of document. So there's a certain limit of period that the work document allows you to perform. So it's written in the issue part. Of course, part of the issuance is the assessment of hazards associated with the job. So it lists down the precautions. No? Normally, what is written in the issue part, on my experience, is that it captures what are the items, okay, that has been isolated. Okay, for example, electrical supply have been switch off, lock, and tag. If we are talking machineries, mechanical part, it's closed, the valve is closed, drained, and tagged or locked and tagged. So it depends in the company to company. And then, of course, the PPE that needs to be worn, or the PPE that is required by the working party that will perform that activity, it is also part of the issuing part. So it's written there. And of course, last but not the least, the signature of the person who is issuing the permit. Okay, so these are the basic content of an issuing part. Now, for the receiving part, it's not similar to issuing part that there's a lot of information, but basically the receiving part is just the signature of the person who's receiving the permit. Okay, receiving meaning for some companies they called it accepting part. It just reflects the name of the person who's accepting the permit. Okay, when he accepts the permit, he needs to make sure that what is written in the issuing part is clearly understood by him. So the person who is issuing the permit will have a discussion with the receiving person. They need to make sure that they understand the scope, the limitations of the permit, what are the hazards, what are the precautions implemented, so that the acceptor or the receiving person who will sign the document is able to convey that discussion to his working party, because that's the most important part. Okay? So the receiving or the accepting part, it's just basically the signature of the person who's receiving the permit. The third section of a permit document is the clearance. Okay? It's basically the signature of the competent persons stating that the area, okay, or the equipment or machine that they have worked on has been completed, okay, or the work have been completed, and that they are leaving the area as it was given to them, okay. So meaning there will be no more tools or spare parts that is left in the work area. So meaning, what was the condition of the work area upon issuance, that's the same condition of the work location that needs to be returned to the issuing party by the receiving person. So that's the clearance. Normally, it's just a section. Again, the receiver or the acceptor will sign that section, okay, signifying that the work have been completed and that the area is returned in the same manner that they have accepted the document during the start of the PTW process. And of course, the last but not the least is the cancellation part. Okay? So the cancellation part, it's just basically the issuing person, okay, the authorized person who issued the permit, that the machine, if it's a machine, is now ready to be de-isolated. Okay? Meaning, it's about time that they will remove the electrical appliance that have been isolated, if there is any electrical isolations done, or the drains need to be closed, okay, the valves needs to be open so that the machine will be operational again. Okay, so that's basically the 4 sections of a permit to work document. And in some cases or in some companies, they have this additional section. That's what they call the extension section, because obviously some work cannot be completed in one shift. So sometimes it needs to be extended. So there's that extension section of a document. Okay? So that's the brief discussion of the permit to work system and what is the content of that permit document. And I hope that I was able to explain that to you guys clearly, and you get to receive the information or basic information about permit to work system. So I hope that you learned something today, and I hope to see you again in another health and safety topic that we will be discussing in the next video. So thank you for watching. I hope you continue to share this video to others, and I hope to see you again in another episode of Health and Safety. So thank you and goodbye.